Hello everyone, I'm Joe Hacking here at RSA. I'd like to thank you for joining our webcast on RSA Archer Platform 5.2 release. I'm pleased to introduce Patty Cutter. Patty is a product manager for RSA Archer and will be leading today's presentation. Over to you, Patty.
Okay. Good afternoon, this is Patty Cutter. I'm joined by Scott Davis from Engineering and Deb Deitch from Technical Publications. During this session, we'll be giving a high-level overview of the new features that are available in the 5.2 release. This includes changes within data-driven events, new features to support bidirectional languages, changes to the data feed functionality, additional math functions available within statistical reporting, enhancements that have been made to the packaging functionality, and lastly, our new administrator guide portfolio. Because we have so many different topics, we thought it would be a good idea to ask you to submit questions as they come up, and we'll address them at once. We'll use any extra time at the end for Q&A as well. There are two features in the 5.2 release for data-driven events. The first is related to the print and export functionality. Sections and fields hidden by an apply conditional layout action are now honored when printing and exporting. This means that a user will not be allowed to print or export any data that has been hidden from them with a data-driven event. The second data-driven events feature is the return of the application data-driven events summary report. This report lists the DDEs within a specified application, as well as the description, rules, actions, and status. A new feature that helps support our globalization efforts is bidirectional language support. Text may be entered left to right, right to left, or a combination of both within the same text field where the text area is set. Arabic and Hebrew are the two languages that are most widely used in terms of right to left. Complete right to left language support is a long process, so we wanted to point out that this feature is only available within text fields where the text area is set for now. We've also made a few improvements to our data feed functionality. With the key field matching process, dated with the same text but different formatting tags are seen as separate records. Also, matching is now performed on the entire text string rather than only on the first 128 characters. It would be a good idea to review your data feeds that have text fields specified as key fields prior to a migration to ensure that this change will work as you intend. A new database query transporter option is available to facilitate Oracle database connections, and searches for data feed configuration files can now be performed in locations other than where the services are currently installed. Statistical reporting has two new functions for aggregate mathematical calculation. The median value is the one in the middle of the list, so 6 in this example. Mode is the value that occurs the most frequently in the example, and that's 5. Most frequently in the list, I'm sorry. Both of these functions are now available with 5.2. So at this point, Scott, do we have any questions that we want to address?
No questions currently.
Well, we're going to now take a look at the new functionality in packaging. Packaging enables users to migrate objects, such as applications and questionnaires, from one instance to another. Throughout our documentation, we refer to the source as the instance from which the objects are being copied, and the target as the instance to which the objects are going. Multiple objects can be copied at the same time. Similar to the DDE technical overview that was created in Release 5.14, there's now a packaging technical overview document. It does a great job of explaining the overall process and conceptual ideas. There's a large section dedicated to rules and remediation steps, as well as one that outlines best practices and recommendations. I highly recommend reading through this document before using the new packaging functionality, and it's been published out on the RSA Archer community. Now we're going to step through the high-level actions that occur in the packaging process. While you're in the source instance, you will determine which components you want to include in your package. You'll then generate a package, download it, and save it to a designated location. We recommend that you back up your database so that you will always have the option to restore it. Our hosted customers have daily and incremental backups. Then in the target instance, you will import the package you created from the location where you had previously saved it. The next step is to map the objects. The point of this step is to ensure that all objects are properly identified so that no unintended objects are created in the target instance. The system will match up objects that have the same system IDs. If there are objects that have different system IDs, you will be given the option to map or not. After the mapping is complete, you will install the package in the target instance. This is when the objects are created or updated. Finally, you'll need to address any differences in the target instance. This is a list of objects that are supported with the new version of packaging: applications, dashboards, questionnaires, iViews, subforms, folders, solutions, letterhead templates, workspaces, and global values lists. It is important to note the objects that are not currently supported, and here's the list.
We have one question.
Okay.
From Shawshank. Does packaging remove fields if they do not exist? No, it does not.
All right.
Packaging usually does not, in most cases, will not delete anything from your source, or I should say from your target.
Okay, we'll keep those questions coming. Thanks, Scott. Now I'm going to go a little deeper into the new advanced package mapping tool. Mapping objects is extremely important to ensure that all objects are properly identified so that no unintended objects are created in the target instance. Mapping enables users to review and modify how individual objects are mapped from the source instance to the target instance. With this feature, objects with different system IDs in the target instance can be changed to match the system IDs of objects in the source instance. Object hierarchy is an important packaging concept. Objects can be classified as root, level 1, or level 2. Root objects can stand alone. Level 1 objects cannot exist without a root object, and level 2 objects cannot exist without a level 1 object. Some level 2 objects have child elements. For example, a values list is a child of a values list field. So in this example, blue, green, orange, red, and yellow are the child elements and will be transferred in a package. This is a screenshot of the advanced package mapper. Each of the root objects have a tab at the top of the screen with an icon that indicates whether or not the mapping is complete. This figure shows the process of mapping objects. The source objects are lined up with those in the target instance. Nothing will need to be done if the system has matched the target and source system IDs. The Do Not Map option in the target column indicates that the source object is new and will be created within the target. And this is a little closer look at the mapping tool icons and their meanings. The exclamation point indicates that everything was not automatically mapped. The green check mark means that the object and all child objects are mapped and you're good to go with that object. The information icon lets you know that the object does not exist in the target instance and was not mapped. And the last icon is the undo icon. That's my personal favorite. Okay. The packaging technical overview document goes into the rules and remediation steps at a very detailed level. Once again, I recommend that you spend time with this document before using the new functionality. But here's a few of the highlights from the rules and remediation sections. In general, packaging does not delete objects or permission settings. It only adds new or updates existing objects and permission settings. Exceptions include layout and workflow in which packaging replaces the existing settings. Always map objects to their lowest level. Child elements must be mapped before parent objects. And field types with parent-child relationships must be manually remediated. Advanced package mapping requires a considerable amount of memory, which may result in browser errors. To mediate impact, export the mappings frequently. To optimize your system for packaging, we recommend upgrading to Silverlight 5 for packaging admins. Those are the users that are doing the mapping. Try to use logical groupings to migrate your objects between instances, and keeping your packages as small as possible will also help. Because significant changes can be applied to an instance during the package installation, it's extremely important to err on the side of caution. The process cannot be reversed. We recommend having a valid backup of the instance database before starting. And once again, the customers in our hosted environment, their backups are done regularly. There are some great troubleshooting tools available for packaging through the job framework log files as well as the user interface. This screenshot shows the tabs for the package mapping log and the package installation log. So speaking of documentation, I'm going to turn this over to Deb with technical publications.
Before we move on real quick, I apologize. We've got 3 questions outlined. One from Jay Reed asking if do private field settings come across in packages? And yes, they will. There are certain rules around users and groups and how they get mapped or how they will come across. I don't remember the specifics about that, but that is definitely in the documentation. on the packaging that you'll find there. Shawshank also asked, is it now possible to package or to bundle data within the package? And if you're referring to content, we still are not packaging content within packaging. It's still from the metadata side so it's still from the administration side that we're packaging, not content yet. Adam wrote, will 5.2 break compatibility with any existing plugin, such as the Qualys Threat Management plugin, and it should not currently. Also, Sandeep has a question around, are notification templates left out from packaging? Notification templates come across that are tied to applications, they will come across in packaging. So yes, they will. Harry Gao has a question around, will the content library be packaged? Once again, if we're talking about metadata, then yes, it would. If you're talking about content, once again, records or content, that is not being currently that will not be in the package. So hopefully I've answered all the questions around packaging at this time.
If you think of more while Deb's doing her presentation, you can go right ahead and submit those. But we'll move on with Deb.
Okay. Thank you, Scott and Patty. Hello, everyone. I'm Deb Deach, Senior Technical Writer in the Technical Publications group of RSA Archer. Technical Publications is responsible for producing the RSA Archer end-user documentation for the platform and solutions. Our group produces things like the technical overviews, the release notes, the help center, administrator, and user guides, along with various other materials. What you're seeing now are the features that have been documented for the 5.2 release. It gives you the feature, which is right to left, mathematical functions, DD print export, data feeds, and packaging, with the help topic and the path to that help topic. With packaging, obviously there were numerous topics updated, so it would be best to do a full text search on packages, and you will find everything that was written about packaging at that point, including what's in the technical overview. So today, what I would like to do is present to you, I'm going to switch my screen here just a second. I'm going to be presenting our latest delivery method for the RSA Archer eGRC Platform Administrator Guide. This guide has been delivered in various forms. Prior to December 2011, it was delivered in a help file. In December of 2011, because of most of your requests, it was delivered in a PDF document. In January of 2012, we took this concept a step further and delivered it in what we call an Adobe portfolio. Think of it as a catalog of the documentation available to you. What you're seeing now is the catalog once it would be opened as a PDF document. I know that it's very small and you probably cannot read it, but what we're going to concentrate on today is just the navigation and how to use this tool so that you can get the information that you need. As I said, when you first open the document, you're going to be presented the current document in the viewer window with thumbnails along the bottom, which we call the thumbnail ribbon. The first document that I want to point out is the instructions for using the Administrator Guide portfolio. So you can read through that and determine how to navigate, viewing the portfolio, opening a file, all of that. You can view files or documents in two different layouts. One is the layout, which is the full viewer, more graphical interface, or files. With the files, it's an alphabetical listing of all the documents within the portfolio with a brief description. You can get the same information viewing it through the viewer window by clicking the I, and it will give you a brief description if you're not certain which document to be viewing. So let's get on to the navigation. How do you navigate through the portfolio? There are left and right arrow keys along the viewer pane, and if you click each time, it will just slowly navigate you or quickly navigate you through the portfolio documents. Another way that you can navigate is by using the ribbon pane at the bottom by clicking the various documents within the portfolio. Now let's say that you've decided that you found the document that you want to view, and so you want to take a closer look. All you need to do is double click it brings it into focus, and it provides a navigation menu along the bottom of the document to which you can scroll to see if that's exactly the document that you wanted to use. If it is, then you simply double-click and it brings it into the full Adobe Reader where the bookmarks are listed to where you can navigate through that document to the information that you need. Including, we have built-in hyperlinks in each area that's applicable so that you can simply and quickly get to the information that you want. You can use either the mouse or the keyboard to navigate through the ribbon. The other thing I'd like to point out is when a document is open, it will be flagged in the viewer pane and in the files pane as open, so that it's just a key for you to know what's going on in your document. The other thing that's really handy about this portfolio is that you can print and search across individual documents and or the entire collection. So I'm going to demonstrate how that might work. So let's say we need to look for layouts. You type it in the search pane, give it a few minutes, and it will start listing everywhere that the word layout is found throughout the portfolio. So I can simply scroll down to what, of course, obviously we have to expand it so we know where what we're looking at. But so, for instance, this is in layout of notifications. So it'll take you to that document to where you can actually go to the pages that you want. I was going to open packaging. Let's see if we can find it here. Okay. Now what it's telling me is that it's not finding it because I have a document open. So if I close that document, now we will see the documents that are pertinent to the word packaging. So my guess is the one with 129 is where we want to go. So we will open that document, and then it will show every occurrence thereafter with the word packaging, to which you can then go through and click on the various tabs and bookmarks to get where you want to go. So when you're finished, another thing to point out is you can print, you can search, you can email, you can extract, whatever you need to do for that document. Any questions?
There's one question from Shawshank about, do I need to update their Adobe for this guide? So.
Oh, thank you for bringing that up. Yeah, this will require Adobe Reader X to run the portfolio. Thank you for bringing that up.
And is it available in other formats if they cannot do that? This is strictly an Adobe?
Yes, it's strictly an Adobe product.
All right, well, thank you, Deb.
Thank you.
Scott, did you have a few more questions on the other features?
Ann asked which Adobe version again?
Adobe Reader X, or 10. It's the latest version of Adobe Reader that's there. It's available. It's a free download.
We have one question surrounding these. Work if fields are set to private. Means if users don't have rights to a field, will the DDE still be activated, as it does in 4X? I'm not quite sure I understand totally the question, except when the page gets loaded, I think private fields are looked at. But obviously, once the page has been, once you're in view mode or in edit mode for DDEs, the private field, you would not be able to react with the private field because you wouldn't have permission to it, so it would not. Another question surrounding, if someone is at 4X version of Silverlight, what functions or issues will occur? The biggest issue that we've seen with Silverlight 4X is around the mapper, and if someone is creating a very large package that has lots of objects in it, we notice sometimes within the mapper tool that it's possible that Silverlight 4 will run out of memory in your browser, which could cause your browser to crash. That's why the recommendation is if you start to see that, we're recommending that the person who's actually doing the packaging and the mapping, that administrator, upgrade their environment to 5X, because there's an issue within the Microsoft Silverlight 4X runtime that's causing the problem. So if you upgrade to Silverlight 5, it will allow that user to be able then potentially to map those objects. And it's just in the mapper functionality. We haven't seen it anywhere else really within the system, within the other administration pages or the advanced search page or any of the preferences that a user can use. So we really want to make sure that you understand that we want to restrict that to the administrator who's doing the packaging. I hope that answers the question. There's another question from Shawshank again about, will the printing or expediting add private fields or hidden sections like it does now? Or will it hide it correctly and the export as it should based on access? Obviously if the sections are hidden through ACL within DDE, then it will not print export. But if you just close it, you have the ability in ViewEdit to actually close a section, but by not using a DDE or an through ACLs. So that will, once again, that will be exported, and that will, anything that's in that section that you just kind of collapsed through ViewEdit will show up. So it's only when you're closing or hide that section through DDE through an ACL will that not print export.
The second feature that Scott was talking about is something that we are looking at in the future on our roadmap.
Robin asks if there's any way to get information about getting access to the materials. I'm certified, but I don't know how to get materials for self-study in 5.2.
The documentation? It's all available on the community. Everything's available on the community. Everything's posted.
And if you don't have access, there's a link that allows you to request access.
Yes.
Tim asked, is the import of the umlaut characters to cross-reference key fields now possible? That's a good question. Tim, we'll have to get back to you on that one. I'm not quite sure what the status was that in 5.2. I know we've done some things around that, but honestly I can't remember what we did on that. Stephen McCarthy asked, you mentioned increased logging for packaging. Are all the errors now located in one place rather than the web error log with references to the server? It's still possible that, like Patty said, that you'll still have to look in the job framework, especially around either whether you're looking at generation or installation of packaging. There still could potentially be errors logged within those log files. We're trying to add to that as much as we can, and we're currently still working on it. So yes, you might still have to look in the job framework. Vicky's asked, can you give us links to the docs? New community site difficult to use. We'll take that under consideration and see what we can do about that. But we'll get you more information when we can.
We actually sent out a communication with the installers that had the link to the technical overview in it as well. So hopefully that will help.
As well as most of the documentation is available through the Help Center. So if you need to know specifics about packaging, that's a good place to start.
Everything that's in the technical overview document is also in the help.
Yeah, are there any changes in the performance sizing between 5.2 and 5.1.5? Not that I can think of offhand. Kim Morton has asked, when we upgrade the current environment, what kinds of potential issues should we be aware of? I'm going to say most of that's been probably I would look at the release notes between when you're moving from 5.1.5 to 5.2. I think that's where you're going to get your best information from.
And if you're an admin, you'd probably want to upgrade to Silverlight 5 is the other.
Just be careful understanding when you upgrade to Silverlight 5. I would just make sure it's really from the administration side that you're doing that for really the people who are doing packaging. That's where we really suggest moving to Silverlight 5.
Not everyone.
Not everyone. Rodney has asked, where do we get the 5.2 software in order to perform the upgrade?
All the customers have been sent links to the installers. If you haven't received that, or if somebody in your organization hasn't received that, you can call the support desk and they can send those links to you.
Shawshank has asked, if I generate a package today and download it again after a week, will it have the changes done over the week, or will I have to regenerate? You will have to regenerate that package. From Ann, so you recommend that a regular end users stay at Silverlight v4, but sysadmins upgrade to Silverlight 5? Yes, but once again, remember, I would only suggest doing this if you're really having problems with the mapping, doing the mapping and packaging, is when you probably want to look at trying to upgrade from Silverlight 5. You don't have to. Packaging, mapping, and depending on how much information you're putting in the packages, and if you follow some of the recommendations and the best practices we said, is trying to keep the packages as obviously as small as you can, but understand what you're trying to package or how you're trying to package those. It'll just kind of depend. But I would say it's only if you find that your browser is unfortunately crashing during the mapping of the packaging that you want to upgrade. So I'm not going to say that you have to do it, because it still might work. We're just saying that is one of the one of the possible solutions to if you see your browser crashing during mapping of packaging, then yes, I would upgrade to Silverlight 5.
Another way to eliminate some of the frequent, not to say that frequent crashes, but to eliminate that is that you can export your mapping file. So instead of to actually go through the entire process, you would map your objects, and then to update the system IDs, you would execute that mapping file. Well, instead of, if you wanted to complete all of your mapping, you can export numerous times throughout that process and then import the mapping back into the advanced package mapping and then execute all at once, and that would save some of that problem with Silverlight 4.
Okay, Robin, for people who certified an earlier version and who are not currently assigned to a client with eGRC, is there recommended approaches for staying current in the coding standards? So are you asking, are you talking about how do you stay current with what's happening like within 5.2 for training? Robin, is that what you're asking? I apologize, I don't.
Maybe if you can add a little more detail there. We're not quite clear on what you're asking, Robin.
Vicki has asked if we can show the link in the doc to the presentation.
Oh, sure. There, community.emc.com.
Location has asked the question if there's any way to pull only the changes done in the past week to an application through packaging. Packaging just basically works at the time of when you actually generate that package. It's going to package up that information. So there's no taking something that's just occurred within like a week or so. It's a point-in-time type of generation. One more question. At one point we said it was notification templates was not supported, but to one of the questions was, explain further what is not included in the new packaging. Can we go back to what?
Go to this page.
Back to the slide.
Objects that, it does the training and awareness campaign notification templates.
I apologize. Notifications are, if you have notifications that are tied to applications, they are packaged. The notification templates themselves are not. I apologize. I probably misspoke on that. There's another question from Mark. Does this release resolve the issue with IE compatibility view settings, which right-aligns lookup windows for some applications, such as facilities? Mark, I do not know that off the top of my head. I'd have to look at release notes to see if that's stated in release notes.
And if you have that logged as an issue with client support, you could call them up and find out as well.
Harry asks the question, does the platform update include all the solution updates? If we install 5.2, will we also need to obtain separate policy 5.2 Enterprise Solution 5.2?
The solution packages don't come out at the same time as the release. They lag slightly behind, so they should be out shortly.
The end of June 30th.
June 30th is when to expect them. Because they try to incorporate everything that's in the current release.
Can you also show the documentation link again?
Sure.
Someone's asking for that again.
It's a great document.
Timo has asked, will I be able to import packages that were created in Archer version 4X to 5.2? No. The module import export in 4X is not compatible with packaging in 5X. You will be able to take packages from 5.1.4 and import and install them in 5.2, but 4X had a totally different structure from 4. In the 4X world, there was a module import, module export, if anyone remembers the 4X world, and that has been totally changed. So packaging has kind of taken over that role of module import export. So it's entirely new functionality, so it is entirely different, so you cannot do that. Lokesh has asked that if you want to import a package which is extracted from development instance and the production instance in which the import is needed, the application is already existing, so how would the package work in this scenario? The basic thing you have to understand is that the development and the production, the thing you have to remember is that packaging will not downgrade a package, so you cannot take a 5.2 package and make it a 5.1 and install it into a 5.1.4 version. You can take a 5.1.4 version package and install it into a 5.2 instance, but you can't go the other way. So basically what you'd have to do is make sure that your development and production environments are at least on the same version of Archer. But once you go through, you could just then basically package that application, make sure you go through the mapping when you're going to your production system to map the correct objects to make sure that everything is the same, and then install that package in your production environment. Once again, please read the packaging technical overview. I think that's going to hopefully help. That should help you understand what's going on. Now, someone's asking a question about 5.3, and what is the time frame for 5.3?
Oh, I can answer that.
And what is the benefit of waiting for it?
lose the benefit of, if you wait for it, you will get all the cool new features that are in it. And the time frame is in the fall. That's what we're saying right now.
Is there an upgrade guide to go from 5.1 to 5.2? I only see a migration guide from 4X to 5X and fresh installation guide.
Yes, the 4X to 5X is all-encompassing. The migration notes 4X to 5X is version 4X to any version 5X.
Shawshank has asked, I've read someone mentioning 5.1.6 in a community post. We have 5.1.4 and hosted. Will we be upgraded directly to 5.2?
The answer there is yes. If you're in the hosted environment, you will be upgraded to 5.2, and that schedule is, I think the 15th is the production environment upgrade.
Someone has trouble, can't get beyond my login in the portal. I'm not quite sure what that means. I'm not sure why I can't speak. I can't get beyond my login in the portal.
Oh, they're probably trying to get to the community, maybe? To get the document? It's hard to say, yeah.
I don't know.
If you do have problems getting to the community, you can call the support desk. We've recently changed the location of the community. So.
Sandeep has asked, just let us say a same questionnaire was upgraded directly from 4.5.9 in two different environments, Dev and Prod. Since the questionnaires will not have the same GUIDs, how will packaging a GUID remediation based on the names instead of the system IDs? That's basically what the mapping functionality of packaging will do, that allow you to map those applications together. We sometimes auto map, or we use name. Once again, go through the mapping, go through the technical overview on that. Please make sure you read that and understand that, and then hopefully someone else if you have problems. Once again, just to clarify, did you say that the migration guide covers 5.1 to 5.2, or it covers 4X to 5X?
The migration guide would be the 4X to 5X. If you're upgrading from 5.1 to 5.2, you would use the standard installation guide.
Will the upgrade from, Wayneberg has a question, will the upgrade for SaaS 5.1.4 customers to 5.2 be direct to 5.2 or a stepped approach to 5.2? In theory, it's kind of, from an applications perspective, it's pretty much a straight upgrade from 5.1.4 to 5.2, but any database changes that need to be made are stepped. That's just kind of behind the scenes. It's something that you wouldn't see from a customer perspective, but it's kind of a stepped approach within the installation. So you would get anything that's been, especially from a database perspective, anything that needs to be changed, but from an application perspective, it doesn't matter. Is there a packaging error guide available to help with tracking down the true issue for the resolution?
In the technical overview, there are log messages that should help you remediate any errors that come, or warnings that come along. That is also documented in the Help Center.
Lokesh has asked the question, concerning both development and prod, have the same version and the development of an app is done in development instance, and when it's imported into production, how the new fields, etc., should be mapped?
I was going to say, if it doesn't exist in the target, then it will just be recreated.
So if you open up the mapping, when you click the mapping for that package, it's potential that some of that will be auto mapped for you, and then you just need to go through. Obviously, there's indications within the icons within the mapping that tells you what has been mapped and what has not been mapped. So you'll be able to tell what you need to go through, and then you just basically have to figure out how to map those. And if you understand what the application is from a field perspective and information in that, it would be pretty easy to do from a mapping perspective. It just depends how much you know about that application. But once again, please read the technical overview. I can't say that enough.
Right. And another way to make certain that you've mapped everything is you can rerun the import and the mapping part of the objects once they've been executed. So theoretically, if everything's been mapped properly and updated properly, you shouldn't have any objects to map.
Except any new fields that were within your...
Correct.
That were your source. Those would show up as do not map, and then those would be created in your target environment. I have no questions currently in the queue. Hopefully we've asked them all. Hopefully we've answered your questions.
All right. Well, thank you, everyone, for joining us this afternoon. We appreciate your time, and hope you really like 5.2. Thanks.